Hi, I'm Julie Powell and welcome back for another walkthrough. This time I'm going to show you how I did the edit time stand still. I started with a basic background of some cracked earth that we took on a recent trip away, and then I added in some clouds that I had as well. Obviously I've masked out the bit in the middle. I then placed a bit through that merged it all together, added in some further clouds to soften it up and add some more impact to it. I then also did a blue photo filter on the clouds just to adjust the colour a bit more. Then placed the clock in and added a drop shadow to the clock. And I also masked out just a little bit on the clock that I didn't want in the image. I then added in the birds, which is just a brush that I've got, and that's just set at normal at 100%. Then went and added in the lantern, so it's just a straight extraction that I have in my stock, and I added a glow to that, and just duplicated and added that a bit more, still at just 100%. Then I added slightly, just building the glow up a little bit more and a little bit more until I was happy with the result. Then I put a copy of the lantern back in over the top in soft light at 90% just to put the details back in because I felt they were lost a little bit. Then I added in the raven, and I did a little bit of a paint job on him just to darken him up a bit, and of course add in a drop shadow as well. Then I added in the tree, this is the original image. As you can see, it's quite detailed and there's a lot to get rid of in the mask. I went through and did that with the selection brush, as well as doing it by hand with just a standard paintbrush on the masking layer, which, as you can see, is quite elaborate, so I won't go through all the details on that. But that's the end result of the tree after quite a bit of work. Then I did a dodge and burn layer on the tree just to bring up the highlights and so forth on that. Going quite close to the tree, you can see where I have changed the highlights where they would appear off the lamp. I then added in various there's a hue saturation layer, whereas I dropped the saturation down on it just to soften it off and give it a slight antique feel. I also added a warming filter to it. I also added in a couple of texture layers, which have been put in. This one overlay at 50%. At 100% it's quite a see-through as it is, but it just gives a lovely texture to the image, just very subtle. And this one is another one I put through at multiply. It's got musical notes on it, and it's just putting it through at multiply. It just means that the notes show through more, but leaving the rest of the texture, it doesn't show it quite so much. Then I put in another texture on top of that. This one I did it overlay at about 50%, which just gives a colour graduation through the image, and also adding in a vignette. Back to where it was. So that's the textures. I then come through and add in some adjustments, a vignette, which I add to the edges. Just a curves layer at multiply, which just slightly darkens it all up. Then I add a gradient map just in the sepia colours, just to give it a lovely warm feel to it. And then I also added another gradient fill just to give it a bit more depth. I then went through and did a dodge and burn layer on 50% grey. As you can see, darkening in the edges, bringing the viewer into the middle of the image where the lamp is. I then ran it through Nik HDR and brought it back in and put it at 42% at 100%. It was just a bit too dark and grungy for my liking, so I just dropped that back and then just added my logo, and that's it. So thanks for joining me again this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.